Hello and welcome to Roaming Norway. It is a beautiful weather today. I love the rain. Do you like the rain? Leave a comment down below if you also love the rain weather. Anyways, we are here to test trailers with electric cars. And not just any electric car. This is the cheapest Tesla in the world. 355,000 Norwegian kroners delivered. If you go for the base stuff, I have upgraded the paint and the interior to the white interior. Unfortunately, that doesn't help us with towing. Right over there is one of the longest motorway tunnels in the world. So we are going to set a baseline without the trailer. Drive through the tunnel enough times to level out the efficiency, because then we know that the efficiency is what it is would be at 80 kilometers per hour GPS, which is the speed we will use. I think we need at least 4, maybe 6 times through this tunnel. The toll roads are expensive, so yeah, my wallet will not be happy for this test. Anyways, it needs to be done. We will then couple the trailer. We will drive the trailer through the tunnel just as many times as the baseline, and we will compare the efficiency. I'll then take the efficiency number and see how many kilometers of real-world range. A little bit about the weather today, because it's very important. We are running winter tires because we are in the winter season, but we do have a lot of rain, and rain decreases efficiency. And in my opinion, I think this weather decreases efficiency more than if we had a dry winter day, which was a little bit colder. I don't think the Tesla really is affected that much about the temperature compared to rain on the road with super inefficient studded winter tires. And on the rear here we just have some cheap winter tires on the trailer itself. I think that will cost us a lot of efficiency. So again, 80 kilometers per hour, because that's the maximum speed for this trailer. In future videos I might get a trailer that's allowed up to 100 kilometers per hour, so subscribe for that. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. I can't wait to get out and test this and see what kind of efficiency numbers we get. A little bit about the car today, because I said it was the cheapest Tesla in the world. We have 208 kilowatts of power in the rear. That's 283 horsepower, I think, on the rear axle. No motor on the front axle, so we have just all the power is in the rear. This car can tow in Europe 1,000 kilograms. It is the same as the long range, so you don't get a tow increase with the long range all-wheel drive. 1,000 kilograms. And you might ask, how much does the trailer weigh? 1,000 kilograms means that we need to try to max it out as much as we can. So first, I'll just show you a video of me loading this trailer with all the kind of items I had to put inside. Okay, it might not look like much, but each one of these are a very heavy aluminium item. And this box is full of them, this box is full of them, so they are placed in the center on top of the main or only axle on this trailer. Of course, by the way, running some kind of cheap winter tires, so I hope we don't aquaplane. And I've tried to make it as even as possible here, with the heavier items over the axle. The front items there are not really that heavy, so they can be there without problems. I'll fill up with some more items in the rear here, and then of course ratchet strap everything down to make sure it's safe to drive. And we are maxing out this trailer's weight. It's only 390 kilograms. Which in total with the trailer gives us 1,000, which is the maximum towing capacity of this trailer and the Model 3 Highland. So we are maxing out everything. You might wonder, where did you get all these items from? Did you rob a store? Did you go just find them? No, this is part of my side hustle. I run an online store for mechanical keyboards. So these are just items that I needed to move, and it was the perfect scenario to test the maximum towing capacity and the towing capabilities of the cheapest Tesla in the world. Now, let's talk a little bit about the trailer. 1,000 kilograms, it can have 390 kilograms of stuff in it to get up to this weight, because it's a heavy trailer in itself. And we have, from my calculations, approximately maxed it out. So we have quite a heavy trailer for this type of car and the type of rating this car has. I also need to mention that aerodynamics are much more important than the weight you have in the trailer. If we were to run the trailer empty, we would probably get more efficiency, but not nearly as efficient as just the car itself. And I think it would be really close to a trailer that's full of stuff. But that really depends on elevation and stuff like that. By doing this loop style test, we will eliminate all the concerns against elevation differences and stuff like that. So it will be very, very interesting to test. It is time to set the baseline for this towing versus not towing test. You might notice that I am actually wearing something different because it's a different day. So what have I done to make sure that the test is representative? Well, the weather is exactly the same, gray and raining. So that doesn't really matter. It is 10 degrees outside. It was 9-10 degrees outside when I did the trailer as well. So everything should be the same. I have also preheated the battery a little bit to get up to the temperature of around 20 degrees Celsius, which we were at when testing with the trailer. We are at a higher state of charge, but it doesn't really matter because we have the maximum amount of regen available, or at least before I start the test. So let's run without the trailer through the tunnel 4 times. Okay, let's reset the trip meter here. Trip A reset. Oh, it's an F-150 Lightning towing. Wow, that's the car I want to test towing with. Wow, we are lucky. Okay, locked in at 80 kilometers per hour. Wow! This car is quite rare in Norway, so it's actually kind of insane that we just pulled up behind it. But I can't go any faster. I can't overtake it because he's probably driving a little bit over 80. That's pretty normal when you are towing in Norway. Wow! It's so embarrassing going so slow without a trailer. Everyone is passing you, including semi-trucks, tractor trailers. Everything just goes past me. You might ask, why don't I go highway speed for this test comparison? Well, the idea here is to use this highway tunnel as a controlled environment, not necessarily to represent all the roads in Norway. Usually you would go faster on this stretch, 110 kilometers per hour roughly. But this is using most Norwegian roads are 80 zones. 80 zones are the most normal road you have in Norway. You have it if you cross the mountain, if you drive from Oslo to Bergen, if you drive far north, you have 80, maybe 90 zones some places. But 80 zones are the normal roads in Norway, not highways. We have so few highways. Of course, that would be interesting testing, and when I get a trailer that can go faster, there are something called Tempo 100 trailers in Norway now, which are legal to drive up to 100 kilometers per hour. I'll do testing on that as well, so please subscribe for that. It is the end of the year. It is a time many people look at buying Teslas because they have a lot of end of the year and end of the quarter incentives. I believe that Teslas have never been cheaper than now. There are some insane deals to do, both in leasing, buying, financing, in all different countries around the world, including the United States, including Norway, the rest of Europe. If you decide to purchase a Tesla now, like this Tesla Model 3 rear-wheel drive with the LFP battery, available in Europe and not in the US. Anyways, if you decide to buy it, please use someone's referral link because you get a discount on the Tesla. You get a discount, I get a referral bonus, and Tesla sells a car. So it's a win-win-win situation. if you were to buy a Tesla regardless, of course. I don't believe you should buy a Tesla just because of incentives, but if you thought about buying a Tesla, now seems like a great point in time to buy a Tesla if you're not waiting for the Juniper Model Y refresh. So I would really appreciate if you used my link or sent my link to someone that you know that's buying a Tesla. Okay, we are nearing the first turnaround point, second turnaround point, and into the tunnel we go at 80 kilometers per hour. We are at the third and second to last turnaround point. Now we have driven through the tunnel. This is the fourth time I'm through this tunnel on the baseline test, and I didn't want to check in at every point for the baseline test. It's just basically the same efficiency, a little bit higher in the beginning and then it levels out. So now we are on the last stretch just to get the numbers fast for you guys. And the trip A, which I reset before we left, are at 38 kilometers now. I expect it to be at 42 kilometers once we get back to the starting point. We have used 5 kilowatt hours and we have an average efficiency of 121 watt-hour per kilometer. It's rain, studded tires, but of course the speed is slow, 80 kilometers per hour, but I already explained why I'm doing this at 80 kilometers per hour. That's because the majority of roads in Norway are 80 kilometers per hour, and that's also the towing speed we did, so I want to compare it directly to see what kind of insane range increase we can get driving without this enormous trailer behind us. In the future, like I mentioned earlier, we might do faster tests like this, but if you want a highway range speed test for this car, just leave a comment down below and I'll make it, absolutely no problem. It's just that there are many highway range tests out there for this car. This is my type of test, and it's an A/B test or a trailer versus no trailer test for this car. So 122 watt-hour per kilometer now. We're going a little bit up, a little bit of elevation gain before we get back to the starting point. So we will see what the final watt-hour per kilometer is when we get there. We are back. Here is trip A, 122 watt-hour per kilometer. So let's do some math. So most of you already know how to calculate this, but we have a 60 kilowatt hour battery, 60,000 watt hour, and we divide that by our efficiency, 122, which is our watt hour per kilometer. We get an actual range of 491 kilometers. That's really good at winter driving. Wow! What? That's almost VLTP range with studded winter tires in the rain. Wow. But of course 80 kilometers per hour is very slow. But most of the roads in Norway are 80 kilometers per hour. It's the truth. So, of course, let's say we can use 70% of the battery, because we arrive at 10% and leave at 80% at fast chargers. So this is kind of like the range between charging stops, I would say. You just time it by 0.7, 70% of the total range, real world range. We get 344 kilometers between the chargers in the real world. Something I like about the new Tesla Model 3 Highland is the camera button here. I can easily bring up the cameras to easily see the trailer, and you can see the entire coupling here, and of course the side cameras also help positioning the trailer, make sure you don't run over anything. Actually pretty great to have the camera button here, so we can switch fast between navigation and the cameras. Okay, just a check-in before we leave with the trailer on. So we are at 55%. I'm doing the trailer first. So we are at 55%, remember that. I'll reset the trip meter. The climate will be at 20.5 degrees Celsius, and I'll use all the heating available here. I'll use maximum steering wheel heating as well. It is very cold outside, or wet outside, and I'm cold, but it's just 9 degrees Celsius outside. Just to give you an idea of the sheer size of this trailer, I'll just walk around it. It's, yeah, it'll destroy the aerodynamics of this new Tesla Model 3, that's for sure. It's not like a super humongous trailer that wouldn't be allowed to tow behind this car in Europe, but it's, I would say, much larger than normal European trailers. It's the absolute largest trailer with the maximum towing capacity that's possible to put on this car. So you can judge for yourself to see the size. And straight onto the motorway. So let's test the acceleration. Oh, it's definitely slower with all this weight behind us. And it's 100 zone here, so I need to be careful. There we go. And lock in at 81 on the speedometer, which equals 80 GPS. So you can see that it's raining, and here we drive into the tunnel. 9.3 kilometers long. So it's one of the longer, maybe not the longest, but one of the longer highway, motorway, whatever you want to call it, tunnels in the world. It has 4 lanes, and it's 100 kilometers per hour speed limit, but we can only drive 81 here. So this is the first stretch through the tunnels, and I'll update you every time I turn around, because it's absolutely nothing to see inside these tunnels. It's just, yeah, a tunnel. Something I like about Tesla is that I'm able to use adaptive cruise control with the trailer. Some cars don't allow for adaptive cruise to be used when you are towing. Even dumb cruise control can't be used in some cars. I think the Volvo EX30, which I thought would be a great towing car because it actually has a higher rating than the Model 3, doesn't allow you to use adaptive cruise control when you are towing, which absolutely sucks. And it's also a safety hazard. Adaptive cruise control is, of course, a safety thing, and it's very nice to use when towing. So that's something I like about the Tesla. It doesn't allow for lane holding or autopilot to be active while you are towing. That's kind of understandable and kind of not. Yeah, they should make that possible. Okay, we are coming in to the first turnaround point at the end of the motorway tunnel, and our current efficiency is 285 watt-hour per kilometer. That's not very good. We are approaching our second turnaround point, so we have gone through the tunnel 2 times. And our efficiency is now 311 watt-hour per kilometer. And that's because this way has more elevation gain, of course. So to get a good baseline efficiency, like I mentioned before, we need to do the loop at least once more. So we are exiting here. I'm taking it easy on the turnaround points, and we are getting straight back on this motorway tunnel. We are at our third turnaround point, and we have a Tesla Model 3 Performance in front of us. So we will slowly brake here and of course get off the road. Then we will turn around. So our average efficiency for the trailer stretch so far is 289 watt-hour per kilometer. Going upwards now, and I can see on the statistics that we're using 43 kilowatts to pull this trailer and our car up this hill. 43 kilowatts. That's when you charge at 43 kilowatts, you can see that the numbers on the percentage slowly go up, right? It's exactly the same thing here. You can see that the numbers slowly go down when you're charging or discharging at 43 kilowatts in this sense. We are now at the last turnaround point. I have decided that 4 times through the tunnel is enough to get a baseline efficiency. We are now at 302 watt-hour per kilometer, so it'll probably be a little bit less once we get back to our starting point here. We will see. And we are exiting the highway here. We are back to where we started. Let's look at the statistics here. So 298 watt-hour per kilometer. We have driven 43 kilometers, which I think is enough to get a good baseline efficiency to compare. The reason I think 43 kilometers is enough is because we are right by the highway. We just go through the highway and it's a loop style test. So 298 watt-hour per kilometer with a fully loaded trailer on the Tesla Model 3 rear wheel drive. We have 60,000 watt-hours in our battery. If we divide that by 298, we get 201. So this means we have 60,000 watt-hour in our battery. We use 298 watt-hour per kilometer. So this number here is, of course, kilometer. These are the range that you have with this enormous trailer behind. It is important to note that we don't use the entire battery when we are driving on road trips especially. This car can be charged to 100% more often than, for example, the NCM or NMC batteries. NMC batteries. But let's say that we are on a road trip and then we arrive with 10%. So we effectively lose 10% of our battery. We also leave the charger at around 80% because after 80% the charging gets slower. 201 kilometers real world range or 140 kilometers of effective range between chargers when we are driving with an enormous trailer that's fully loaded behind us. And that's driving at the fastest speed you can drive with the trailer, which is 80 kilometers per hour. We will probably get better efficiency if driving on Norwegian mountain roads, because you often have to have a lower speed than 80 kilometers per hour. So for example, 70 kilometers per hour or 60 kilometers per hour would help tremendously, because you get so much less aerodynamic drag from this enormous trailer. So let's conclude then. 140 kilometers between chargers with the trailer, 344 kilometers between chargers without the trailer. Insane difference. 200 kilometers more between chargers without the trailer. And this is why electric cars are not the best solution for many people who are towing heavy stuff. But I want to come with a disclaimer here, because the towing experience itself, due to often the high horsepower, but the good torque levels of electric cars, it is way more comfortable actually towing with electric cars. And most people that are towing are not towing for long distances, so then there is no problem. So in my opinion, this is my opinion, leave a comment down below if you have a different opinion, but my opinion is that towing for short distances, for example, throwing away trash, doing stuff in the local environment, towing with an electric car is better because of the high torque levels and the high horsepower. You don't really feel the trailer behind you. It's very comfortable, very silent. One pedal driving helps you control the braking of the trailer. It's just an awesome experience. I love towing with electric, but for long distances, many charging stops, you can see the difference here in the range between chargers, and of course the total range, which was 491 kilometers without the trailer, and of course 200 kilometers with a trailer. Insane differences having a large trailer like this behind the car. It's the largest trailer you can have behind the Model 3. Please let me know down in the comments down below, what do you think? Do you think electric towing works, or do you think it's too cumbersome because of the amount of charging you need to do? Of course, you can get electric cars with a larger battery. You can get quite a bit more range when towing. This one has a very small battery, 60 kilowatt hours. It's just an insanely efficient car, which makes the car go very far. But when you put a trailer behind, like I have mentioned in this video before, all the aerodynamics go out the window. It doesn't matter. This could be an ID bus. It doesn't matter anymore when you put a large unaerodynamic trailer behind the car. If you want to see more towing videos with electric cars, I actually towed with the ID.Bus a smaller trailer, but I towed it across the mountains all the way from Bergen to Oslo and back. I think I have video for both of those scenarios. Anyways, everything is on this channel. Just Google, in the YouTube search, put ID.Bus towing and you'll probably find my video. Not many people tow with the ID.Bus. That was a great experience as well. You don't feel the trailer behind you. That car even has some better towing stuff, like the semi-automatic trailer hitch that Tesla doesn't have here. It actually has a very bad towing hook implementation with the connector. It's difficult. Everything about towing with this car, connecting the trailer is difficult. The towing itself is very fine. This is the weakest Tesla ever made, I think. It's the one with the least horsepower. And it tows the trailer completely fine. No issues, no slowdowns, great amount of acceleration, and the experience itself for short distances is just amazing. Around cities, if you don't need to go too far, it's absolutely amazing towing with the Model 3. The Model Y has more weight, so if you do frequent towing, I would get the Model Y and probably with the larger battery when towing. And also all-wheel drive is nice, of course, for more traction options. Thank you so much for watching another Roaming Norway video. If you are buying a Tesla before the end of the year, there are so many incentives. In addition to the incentives, the cars are really, really cheap compared to earlier. Please use someone's Tesla referral link, then you get a discount on the Tesla and it doesn't cost you anything. You can use tesla.roamingnorway.com. That directly helps out this channel. Thank you so much for watching and see you in another video very, very soon.